Did I just?
Hello, everybody. um, wow, having technical difficulties. It's all good. Whatever. Yeah, Brianna, I noticed that it wasn't streaming to my Facebook. So I'm like, okay, interesting. We've been trying to get all this tech working where we can stream to our both of our Facebook pages and both of our YouTube pages, and the tech says we can do it, but we've had a little problem getting that all kind of worked out. I thought we had it today, and maybe we have it. It is streaming to my YouTube. I don't know about yours, not to my Facebooks, but hey, it's all good. We'll get her there. We can just pass it around. Anyways, welcome. This is J. Scott McMillan here with Crypto Talk with Brianna and Scott. And hi, Brianna.
Hey, Scott. If I just yelled into the microphone during our introduction, I apologize.
Well, that's all right. Be par for the course today, kind of. We'll wiggle through. What can you say? Nice thing about crypto is, it's built on the internet. It's built on tech, and it is really brand new, right? And it's pretty techy, and so it's and one of the things I think, at least for me, if you're going to be in crypto, you got to be pretty patient with the tech, and so here we are. It's a good lesson for us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We have to be patient with the crypto. We have to be patient with the at-home offices. So yeah, that's part of what my spiel was about, or what my little yell was about. So again, I apologize for that.
It's all right.
But
We got
yeah,
little friendly people that walk behind. That's what it's all about. It's all good.
absolutely. Yeah. How's your week been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. It's been so smoky here in the Northwest, in Montana. How about there?
Yes. Oh, it's been really smoky. It finally let up. We had a little bit of a rain come through, which helped a lot. But yeah, very thick smoke. It's not good on the throat. Definitely
Oh.
feeling it.
Yeah. It's weird because usually I can see the Rocky Mountains from my window, and I haven't even been able to see them for like 5 days, which makes me sad. But just literally today, in about the last 4 hours, I can see the mountains. So my mood is getting better. So that's good.
It makes a big difference. It does.
It
And my
does. It
mood
does.
has gotten so much better too with the shift in energy in crypto, or at least what I'm seeing, or what I'm exposing myself to. Definitely understanding that there are seasons with all of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'll actually, what I'm going to share today has to do with seasons, and we may be entering a new season. So that's what I'm
Oh
going to
wow.
be bringing to the
Cool.
table. I'm
All
curious
right.
to what
Cool.
you're going to bring to the table.
Well, I'm all about the merge. To me, it was all about the merge. I got tons of merge info. I'm just really excited about the merge, and so yeah, that was me. But let's start with you. Let me put you on here, and you can share your screen, and we'll see if we can get going. See if the tech gods will be nice to us right now.
Okay,
Okay,
let
I
me
think
know
so.
if
I
you see
see
the
it.
screen. Are we there?
There we go. Yep, we're good. Nice.
Okay, so I am going into NFTs. I had a feeling you'd be covering the merge, so I didn't go there today.
I wondered
And
about that. I'm like, oh, I wonder how many merge stories we're gonna do together. But yeah, I'm pretty big on the merge. So cool. NFTs. Let's see what we got.
yep, I'm going through NFTs. And so, what this article is about is forget about DeFi summer, NFT autumn is arriving. And this is an opinion article off of Decrypt, but there's a lot of education in this as well. So, I appreciated this article. And there we have a mural of some of our most famous
Mm,
NFTs. I believe this is in New York City.
I like it.
And so here's what's happening with NFTs. This is kind of seems to be an up and coming new thing. And maybe you've heard of it before. This is all new to me. But there was a statement made, and I think it was on Twitter. I can't remember the guy's name, so I apologize. And what he had said is basically trying to break down, as we are still trying to explain what NFTs are to people who don't know, and also trying to understand them better. So what's said is if you ignore all the nuance and strictly consider the smart contract, altcoins with pictures is indeed what NFTs really are. So that was a interesting way to put it,
Yeah,
and it
I
makes
like that.
sense. There were a lot of people who were upset about that for some reason, but
Really?
I think that's actually kind of a simple way to compare it and break it down. But pseudo swap is the next thing. And have you heard of pseudo swap, Scott? I'm curious.
No, no, I have not.
That simple but provocative idea is part of why SudoSwap, which just announced a governance token, which is called Sudo, is quickly becoming the it place for NFTs these days. SudoSwap launched in July. Its name is a riff on Uniswap, which, as we know, is a decentralized protocol, for reasons that will soon become apparent. And it's the first, honest to God, working decentralized NFT exchange with an on chain automated market maker. In other words, SudoSwap is a protocol, and as such, it's meant to work in conjunction with other protocols. The liquidity it provides via its automated market maker can be accessed by other protocols, dApps, and even marketplaces. By contrast, a massive NFT marketplace, such as OpenSea, is a closed ecosystem with a closed order book. Though the customers provide liquidity, the platform gets to take transaction fees. So platforms like OpenSea and LooksRare are marketplaces, but SudoSwap operates more like an exchange.
Yeah, because those are OpenSea. Yeah, it's not really completely decentralized, and I didn't realize that. But it's kind of like Coinbase, and which is it's a centralized exchange. The transactions appear, with the NFTs are on the blockchain, but that's interesting. So this is going to be like a pure DEX, but mainly for NFTs. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it is cool. And so, yeah, basically, SudoSwap is to NFTs what Uniswap is for altcoins. The way that I see it, this person who wrote this article said, SudoSwap is doing for the NFT space what Uniswap did for DeFi. Part of why Uniswap was a big deal when it launched was because it took the fees usually kept by central exchanges and gave those fees to the liquidity providers, which removed the need for traditional market makers. In fact, I think this could be the spark that finally brings excitement of 2020's DeFi summer to the NFT world. Call it NFT autumn. One of the moments that turbocharged DeFi was that the automated market maker created liquidity for trading altcoins. NFT autumn could follow the same trajectory, but it's altcoins with pictures and AMMs. Then it goes on to say that liquidity is a crucial financial building block, a necessary element of any successful token, fungible or not. It's also a building block that was missing from the NFT ecosystem until Sudo's AMM launched, and a small portion of SudoSwap's Sudo supply will be distributed to people who have provided liquidity for the platform in the past, like Uniswap, a move that might draw more liquidity to SudoSwap and its AMM because it will lure speculators. And then going on to say, okay, so we have this whole royalty question that's this has been kind of big in the news lately. So SudoSwap nixed royalties. They're not doing royalties at all. Instead, the protocol takes 0.5% trading fee and lets NFT collectors trade for significantly cheaper. And a couple more things to add to that. The most successful collection to attempt this approach so far were the Pseudonauts. By launching through Sudo's AMM, every sale of a Pseudonaut NFT added liquidity to the pool, creating a more liquid and, dare I say, less volatile market. That's great for collectors, giving them confidence that there will always be a buyer for their Pseudonaut. The Pseudonaut project is only 2 weeks old, but so far the results are encouraging. Yes, its current floor price is a modest 0.23 ETH, but it generated a sales volume of 563 ETH. And that gave the artist a tidy 40 ETH in trading fees from his liquidity pool. He also retained 200 of the 2,000 NFTs for him and his team to showcase how artists can profit while providing deep liquidity for their collection. And then it just basically goes on to say, he had one last statement, that he ends this article with is a question. If you could go back in time to before DeFi summer, knowing what you know now about what worked and what didn't, what would you build? Answer the question, then go and build it, but add pictures. So yeah, something exciting.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just makes sense that they would go like this. I didn't really think about it, but yeah, I think it. If we want to really champion decentralized activities and protocols and projects, then this makes a lot of sense. It'll be interesting to see when they talked about royalties. Do you understand what that meant? Like, what kind of royalties are we talking about?
So, okay, every time from my understanding on OpenSea, if the creator, whoever mints the NFT, every time that NFT is then, don't be on this. This is just something I've read
Uh oh, where'd you go?
on out, that there are royalties to that original owner or the person that minted it originally.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And so they're saying that there are no royalties for the artists, but how do they get paid?
That's a good question.
Well,
Yeah, good.
is
Well,
yeah. Go back to the article. Let's go
yeah,
back to the article a minute.
I'm going back because I didn't
Uh,
highlight everything.
there was something about that in the royalties things. I just kind of want to understand this a little. Okay, here we go. So, okay, the protocol takes 0.5%. That's cool. And yeah, and so it goes back to the community or the token, which that's just one of the cool things about DeFi and DEXs is that the fees go back into the community, and then you're rewarded for adding liquidity. So that's how that works. They'll take a trading fee. So it sounds they did talk about liquidity here. Where was that part where they talked about liquidity? Okay, let's see. Pseudonauts talked about that. Okay, let's see. Creating more liquid. So it says the NFT added liquidity to the pool, creating a more liquid and, dare I say, less volatile market. That's great for collectors, giving them the confidence to always be a buyer. That's interesting. So I guess I still fully don't understand this, but it's cool because it is the mechanism of providing liquidity in a DeFi protocol is you. So if I come in and I want to earn a passive income of, let's say, 5 to 10%, I will then get a pair of coins and I'll put that into the pool of, let's say, on a Uniswap, right? I'm providing liquidity. So I get rewarded by the fees that people charge. So if somebody wants to swap a coins because I've added my 2 coins in there, and let's say you've added your coin pairs in there. Now, if I have ETH and BTC and you've got, a couple other altcoins in there, that provides the pool of assets that people can swap back and forth. So you and I have provided liquidity. And that's what's so cool about that is that we get rewarded to provide liquidity. If we didn't put our coins in there, there would be no way for people to swap. So it's just this really, I think, interesting mechanism where we get rewarded to provide liquidity, and then that's how people can swap. When they do swap, there's a fee charged. That fee usually goes back to us as liquidity providers, and then sometimes part of the fee goes to, let's say, the DEX's token. And so if you buy the token or whatever, then you can get rewarded by holding that token, and or the token can go up and down in price. So it's interesting. So with the NFTs, they're trying to do kind of the same thing. I just don't understand because, like in normal DEXs, you're putting up assets, tokens. So in this case, you're putting up the NFTs, I guess, as the asset. But I'm not sure how that values back out to who gets rewarded and how the NFT creator, makes money. But I think it's fascinating. Maybe we should follow up on this because it's a really cool concept. And if they're using the same principles, which it sounds like they are. I just don't understand the value now that the NFT brings. How does it accrue value? Because now I guess it's on the open market, so supply and demand. I don't know.
Yeah,
Interesting though.
this is a good one to follow up on. It would be a good one for you to follow up on because you're really good with all the inner workings of DeFi. One thing that I don't understand, so it states here the total market cap of the collection is 590,000, and there's now 315,000 liquidity backing that. So does the liquidity backing that not have to match?
Right. That doesn't. I don't know.
I don't know. We're gonna have to look more into this one.
Yeah, but it's a good snapshot into something kind of brand new. You know that and this is what I love about crypto is that just new stuff like this is just popping up all the time, and it's almost head spinning. You know, with so much new stuff. And it's cool. And I'm really trying to focus most of my attention on DeFi. And now this is blurring the lines. It's NFTs and DeFi. So it's like, oh my gosh, I got to pay attention to this now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's adding in because you haven't been like super submerged yet into NFTs yet, right?
No, I haven't. And by choice, and I'm excited to do it. But by choice, the metaverse and NFTs, like when I search for articles and things to read and really focus on, I'm like I see a metaverse article and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and I'll start to read. I'm like, wait, don't spend time on this. Go to DeFi, because there's just so much information out there. But I'll tell you, I got a couple articles, or at least one on metaverse stuff. Metaverse is so interesting to me because it's so big. I'm actually reading a book about the metaverse that I find really fascinating. I'll talk a little bit about it when I bring up some of my articles. So again, I'm going to focus on DeFi. It's where I'm going to be testing stuff, but the metaverse is interesting. It's just so fun and exciting, and it's hard to ignore some of that. And I would love to get in there and play around. And I've been trying to, it's funny, I've been trying to get in the sandbox, and I've had some weird problem with my username connected to my wallet and stuff, so I can't get in, so I'm frustrated about that. There's another one called Landian that I'm really interested in looking into. And again, most of these metaverses, it's so new. They've been talking about it for years, but you have to be kind of in early or buy land or something to actually even get in and explore before it's like open for the public. So I haven't figured out how to get into Landian. But there's another one called BitCountry. And it's a place where you actually get to create your own whole metaverse. And so it's like, it's a little bit different concept. It's not like one metaverse where you get to build land. You can build multiple metaverses. And I'm trying to get into this one to just play around and see. So anyways, yeah.
Yeah, it is exciting. There's just so much. And there's just so much potential even outside of, with NFTs. And that's actually my next article that I'll get into. Like I said, I'm kind of sticking to NFTs today. I've kind of been veered away from them. I was really interested in them a couple of months, or in the spring type. And then I've veered away from them. So I'm kind of coming back to them a little bit right now. Cool. And I like to see what people are doing. And that's what's happening with, I'm not going to lie. I get a little bit tired of seeing the Bored Apes, but, but there's just, I'm going to hit at it again one more time today. So this person owns a Bored Ape Ethereum NFT, and he's launching a real world yacht club. So he's a CEO, and he's also a yacht owner. He's not associated with the people who made Bored Ape Yacht Club, but he does own one of the NFTs. And so he's starting his own yacht club.
Nice. Makes sense. Yacht owner should have something to do with Bored Ape Yacht Club.
And it's called the Bored Yachts Club.
Nice. They
took the ape out. So the Bored Yachts Club hopes to create a decentralized NFT-gated yachting platform that lets members rent real vessels all over the world, with proceeds going to charity. The initiative will begin with Lady Amanda, the single yacht of club creator Jad Comer, but the goal is to bring in more yacht owners over time while letting them direct funds to causes of their choice. Comer is the founder and CEO of Melonian Capital, which is a French investment firm that launched a Bitcoin-themed ETF focused on crypto industry companies in 2021. He told Decrypt that he personally began investing in the leading cryptocurrency much earlier in 2014. And I wanted to point that out because what he said is, thanks to Bitcoin, I was able to buy my first yacht. I hope that will be one day.
Right.
I'm hoping to have that opportunity one day. And so, yeah, he hopes that the ape number 634, which he refers to as John Blackeye, will help entice NFT fans to buy into his Bored Yachts Club, which will hold an NFT drop later this year. So it's like he has his own NFT collection drop coming called Bored Yachts Club, most likely on Ethereum. Each of the 8,200 NFT passes, which will span 3 different levels of benefits, will offer access to a platform that serves up rentable yachts. There's no official tie between the Bored Yachts Club and Yuga Labs, and participants won't need to own a real Bored Ape NFT to buy and use one of these NFT membership passes. Comer's hope is that the platform will attract additional yacht owners from all around the world, which he said can help fulfill the dual purpose of letting them fill up empty charter windows when the boat is not being rented, while also supporting charities in the process. It's amazing how much emptiness you have in this whole industry, he said. The idea is to fill the gap. You have empty boats and people who do not have access to these boats. And furthermore, and I like this note, of course I do, furthermore, given that boats can operate in international waters outside of land-based jurisdictions, Comer sees the Bored Yachts Club as a potential stepping stone to a crypto city of sorts tied to a marina. That's kind of cool. Sure. And while the original Bored Ape Yacht Club's path has led to the metaverse via the upcoming launch of the Other Side games, the Bored Yachts Club has a different destination in mind. Instead of a metaverse at the end, he explains you have a yachtverse, where basically you enjoy yachting instead of video games.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep, that's what I have today.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. The first thing that struck me that logistically is the Bored Apes, along with, I believe, Moonbirds, 2 of the biggest NFT collections out there, have allowed that when you purchase an NFT, you get full rights to that NFT, which is, I think we talked about this on one of the other episodes, but that's just an interesting concept because of the blockchain and the fact now we can track ownership. That made sense in a way that they could have their own NFT and do whatever they want with it, profit from it, sell it, I think we talked, or I showed last time, there's one that has, M&M did a deal with Mars, and they have M&Ms printed of their Bored Ape on the M&Ms, making probably a good amount of money on that. So yeah, so you buy, if you can buy one of these Bored Apes, you can do anything you want with it, and this guy creates a whole thing, a whole genre, a whole yacht club out of it, and it's a great play on the name, of course, and but like you said, he's going to create a real world thing like a yachtverse. And so the other side of that again is then, again, if you're a Yuga Labs or whatever, you're big enough now where it isn't that big a deal. But if you're a NFT, a small NFT, creator or whatever, you may not want to have the people that own the NFTs be able to profit off of them, because it really goes back to the main name of, let's see, whatever your creator is, and you're trying to build. So you're trying to build your own ecosystem basically off of a successful NFT collection. And so if everybody can then profit and create and rebrand off of that NFT, it dilutes the branding of, let's say, the main one. So apparently the way I understand it is that when you set up the smart contracts for NFTs, you put in there the stipulations of who owns what and how, and then that gets locked into the smart contract. And so it's just interesting. These big guys and they were some of the first. So I think people are learning new stuff all along, like how to actually program in the rights, the copyrights and the rights and what you can do and what you can't do with these NFTs after you buy them. You can own them, but does that mean that you can profit off them? And it's whatever you want to do, I think, by putting it into the smart contract. So I don't know why I find that really fascinating. I guess because I hope to be an NFT ecosystem creator at some point. I've got an idea in my head about an NFT collection that I want to create. And as a small, time player doing this, initially I want to keep all of that, intellectual property kind of in the system. And so for me, I'll probably do it that way so that they can't, profit from it. But it doesn't mean we can't build the ecosystem and the brand and have fun with it. But who knows? Until I really get into it, things are changing all the time. Maybe in a way it actually helps the original brand by having these other ones rebrand. It just brings more attention to the whole ecosystem of, say, Bored Apes. So I don't know. I find it really interesting, though.
Yeah, that it is. The more you think about that, it's it could go so many different directions. If somebody took your NFT and had it being associated with something completely different than your mission, and just totally off from anything that you would ever want to be associated with, and destroys your image in some ways or another, that wouldn't be good. So yeah, it'll be important to make sure you have it how you want it in that contract.
Yeah,
for sure. It's nice to have the option.
it is. And the biggest thing I was excited about when I heard about NFTs was the fact that artists now can get the royalties, multiple royalties, royalty from the first sale, and then if somebody makes profit and sells it, the artist can get a royalty, but only if they program that into their smart contract. And so that kind of makes sense, and it's a cool thing for original artists to be able to do now. But that was just the beginning. I mean, that was sort of the idea at the very beginning. Now, an artist can get royalties, but if the person owns the whole thing, they can end up making a lot more money than the artist. Maybe that's good or bad if the person that buys that NFT is just a really great marketer. But again, what if they go down a path that just really dilutes the brand and the feeling that you wanted to create as the original artist? So, got just so much new, fascinating stuff that is, here you and I are, and we're talking about cutting edge ideas and technologies, stuff that's like real and cutting edge. Now, most of the time, by the time something gets really entrenched into society, where people are talking about it on YouTube channels, it's already a done deal. Like, there's no more money to be made. Things are solidified for the most part, and yet we're here talking about concepts that we're like fans of right now. But tomorrow, literally, we could be NFT ecosystem creators, and we could have the next big NFT system.
Right.
That's what's so amazing about this.
Right. It really does bring opportunity to everybody that has access to the internet. Really, I mean, you can, and your imagination. It is fascinating. This point in time that we are in history. I think a lot of people can kind of look past that and just kind of take it, at face, just look at it and think, oh yeah, it's just an NFT. It's just another thing. And all of this, yeah, I mean, it brings me back to a conversation that we had. Somebody in our group, I think, gave his new grandchild a ledger.
Oh,
with
right.
Bitcoin on it. And I'm just thinking about, I think someone said, like it was kind of like how your grandpa used to give you gold coins or your grandpa would give you 50-cent pieces. And to them, that's like a whole thing. And I kind of feel like that right now with, we have so much excitement. When my kids grow up, I have a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, there's going to be so much that's already just there. And I'm sure there'll always be stuff to develop, but there's so much that's in the beginning and in the making. It's just truly in its infancy. It is fascinating.
Well, and I always like to bring it back to this because I think so many people that come into crypto and hear about crypto, the only thing they know about is crypto investing in coins, right? And that's, to me, the most fascinating part is that it's so much more than that. And in fact, I don't know if I said this last week, but I've said this before. It's like investing in coins is boring. To me anyway, figuring out the next, layer one or whatever. That's why I'm excited about Ethereum. I'm like, okay, Ethereum, just take the spot, get it over with, flush out these other layer ones. I mean, I believe there will be a couple, but let's just get that, fleshed out. And then let's start playing with all the dApps and all the creative stuff on the one main platform or the one or two main layer one platforms. But investing in the layer ones is not where it's fun to me. It's cool that you can, because again, what if you could have invested in HTML when the internet was created, right? And that's what I like in this. It's like, yeah, am I invested in coins in these layer ones? Yeah, because it's like investing in, HTML as an internet protocol. And every time the protocol gets used, I may benefit, from that. I'm an owner of the network. But that's just the beginning. Then everything now, because the network is there, once the engineers figured out how to create and build the fiber and all the network, on the internet, then it was all the amazing software creators that created all the cool software that could then run on the internet. And that's really what the fun is, and it's funny because I used to be a network engineer, and I used to build the networks, and I thought that was so cool, understanding the protocols at the bit level and everything. And yet that's really the most boring part, but back then it was like there was no internet. So building the internet, which is funny because sometimes I like to say that I actually am old enough where I actually helped build the internet, which is pretty scary. but it's fun to have that connection. And now to see what is really just another layer on top of the internet, the blockchain, it's just another layer, but the fun part now is all the dApps and all the fun stuff you can do. And we can still invest in the network and be rewarded as the popularity of the network grows. But I just love to point that out because I want people to understand more about crypto. It's not just about coins you can invest in. It's about the whole ecosystem and everything, these NFTs and metaverse and, DeFi, is going to be my specialty. And the fact that we can literally replace the banking system in crypto and not have all the overhead and be able to earn a real interest rate that makes sense, because what you get at banks and institutional financial institutions today is ridiculous. I get why it's there. And again, I come from a family of bankers. That was the system that was created and it worked through and it molded through, but its time is done now. Believe me, it will take a long time to get rid of the traditional financial system. But the things you can start to do now with blockchain and liquidity, the whole idea of liquidity in DeFi is actually an interesting concept. It's a brand new concept that was only created by people thinking, well, now that we got this blockchain and we can check blocks, from beginning to end, how can we, create an incentive for people to make sure that there's coins there to swap? And they came up with this idea about the liquidity and about the AMAs and how that swaps. And it's just this beautiful thing that was created out of nothing. Because that is not duplicated out in the traditional finance. It's only in this ecosystem. And it's brilliant. And it's only going to get better and better. Yeah. All right. So let me see what I got coming up here. Like I said, I was a little bit zooming around at the end, trying to get this thing going, but let's see what we got here. So I'm just going to bring up my whole page here, and the first one we're going to look at. Oh, that one's kind of boring. Let's look at this one. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so the merge happened. I wish I had where's my merge chart? But the merge happened on the 15th, and it happened without a hitch. So yay, merge. Hold on here. Actually, where's my little? Hold on. There we go. There we go. Had to get that in.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So the merge happened, and yay. Okay, I don't have the right screen up there. Hold on. There we go. But Ethereum fell. Ethereum continues to sink post-merge, down 18.5% in 3 days. So, what's up with that? Well, some interesting things happened, right around the merge and after the merge. So, it's been a great week for Ethereum, and yet one of the worst in a while for ETH. Despite the success on Thursdays of Ethereum's much anticipated merge, which saw the network flawlessly transition to proof of stake, the network's native currency, ETH, has plummeted 18.5% in the last 3 days. So it says the week started off on a much different note for ETH, which was flying high on lofty expectations for the merge, briefly surpassing 1780 in value on Sunday. So here's some interesting events that changed the trajectory, because it really did, and it was really cool as the merge was approaching. ETH was going up, Bitcoin was kind of hanging in there, doing its own thing, but Ethereum was actually growing faster than Bitcoin, or price was going up higher. So on Tuesday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released its consumer price index figures, which indicated stubborn, persistent, high inflation in August. That news will likely lead the Fed again to raising interest rates to combat inflation. And that immediately triggered a massive sell-off in the stock market and corresponding drop in the value of cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we've seen this game before. This has happened multiple times, just even in this year. But it is interesting that stock market crashed and the crypto market went down too. So no big deal on that. We kind of get that. We've seen that. It'll come back up. The other thing I think was interesting was that traders were preparing, and they basically to buy on the rumor and sell on the news. And this is a fairly common tactic. Common financial markets refer to the act of buying the asset as the hype pushes the price upwards in anticipation of a major event that could increase its value, which it did, and then selling it off as soon as the event occurs to make away with short-term gains. So that's probably what was happening here. So no big deal. Don't panic, everybody, because this is natural market occurrence stuff. No big deal. What else do I got here? It says traders. Yeah, it says traders liquidated over 127 million worth of ETH in the hours following the merge. So that's just people gathering short-term gains. And it pushed it down. That's standard. It says while some of that was currently expected, the degree of sell-off has probably been further accelerated. And here's the third area by SEC Chair Gary Gensler's statement on Thursday, where he says all proof-of-stake cryptocurrencies like ETH could be considered regulated as securities. Yeah, he's been hinting at this, and we've been talking about the SEC and Gary Gensler, and he's kind of shooting from the hip here, and it's not real fun for people in crypto because we just don't have a lot of guidance. And then he throws statements out like this, that all proof of stake could be considered securities. So I don't know what this guy's trying to do, show that he's the big man on campus or whatever. But unfortunately, his word does weigh heavily in the news and on markets, and we're going to have to deal with this, I guess, until we get some real legislation in there about just these statements. And it just proves further that the crypto market's a market like any other market, so it moves up and down with news. And I wish it wasn't that way. I personally believe that the crypto market should not be tied to the stock market and to maybe other markets because it's inherently different. It doesn't really need to move on that kind of news because it's its own ecosystem, if you will, and it really works upon different mechanisms than the traditional financial world works. But, like it or not, right now, that's what we got. The more that we wanted large institutions to come into the crypto market, the more those large institutions still behave like their traditional counterparts in the traditional finance. So they're risk averse. And so when they feel something's too risky, they get out of it. Bitcoin is mostly what they're in now, but they're also moving heavy into ETH. I think they'll move even more heavy into ETH. Here's a little statement here. It says, on Monday, Bank of America released research note indicating that the security and the energy efficiency of Ethereum's new staking model could soon attract interest of major institutional investors. So that's good. But it does mean that we're going to have this coupling to traditional markets for a while until we kind of get some regulation in here, until crypto kind of starts to grow up because it's still in its infancy. And I always say that right now, crypto's a little quirky. It's a little wild, wild west. The user interfaces are not that friendly. So those of us that have the courage and the ability to withstand some risk and the ability to trust ourselves to learn enough to be able to invest and to play and to spend our time in the crypto world, will be rewarded. Because it is a much more efficient market. There's new technologies out there. I mean, the DeFi world, you can easily earn 10% fairly safely. Fairly is because nothing's safe. It isn't backed by the government or anyone else. But 10% is not easy on the outside world in traditional finance. Pretty darn easy in crypto, especially in DeFi. And so that's just a game changer. And that's the beginning. The stuff I'm looking into 70% average APY. And what I can't guarantee, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but in that is if you invest $10,000 at 70% APY for 5 years, you're going to have $1 million or so, in that time. That's what that compounding interest just does. But because it's so new, who knows if you put your money into some DeFi protocols, and you're earning on average 70%, that may be great, but what happens next year and the year after when new technology comes and new things happen? So it's unfortunately, you can't guarantee that you will have that 70% every year, but that's the model we have to start with. And so we go with, can we earn 70%, now? And we have to watch it. It's not like you can put it in an index fund like the stock market and just kind of forget about it. That's not the way crypto's working right now. But those of us that have time and patience and the willingness to do this can be rewarded quite handsomely. Okay, wow, that was kind of an interesting tangent that I went on there.
That was a great article, and you hit so many good points there. I don't even know what to add. I don't think I can add anything to that. That was really great.
That's because I went off. I started going off on the merge into DeFi and stuff, but I do get excited about DeFi, and so I just went off. That's what we do on these shows.
Yeah, you hit a lot of really, really good points there. I was just relating it all to, I guess, my journey as an investor, and really time and patience, like you said, and understanding goes far in this.
Time and patience. Yeah. I like the way you put that.
That was good.
Yeah. Well, here's one, just a quick one on the stock market, because it's really all connected, and just like stocks slide big this week on really basically the stuff that we talked about before, why crypto went down. But yeah, FedEx and General Electric, really today warned of really bad economic conditions, and they're just not anticipating good returns, and so the market really took a tumble. And it really does say that, hey guys, we're in a recession, whether some people like to believe it or not, and our economy is just sort of up and down, and energy prices and oil and in the war, it's all connected, which is interesting. And it's why for the first time in a long time, I do pay attention to a lot of this economic news that I really didn't pay much attention to in the years past. But since it affects me so much now in crypto, that I am starting to pay a little more attention to it. But I will say the cool thing about it is that even with recession, even with the stock market down, even with all indicators in economies down, and crypto is down too, but I just got to bring it back to DeFi. But I'm still earning a 10% to 70%. Well, everything is down. Will that stay and last? I don't know. But it's a premise that I'm in there now, and I'm watching it to see if it fluctuates and what to do next. But that's the beautiful thing about this and about DeFi. Who cares about the economy? Who cares about the stock market when I can earn 50, 20, 50, 60, 70% in DeFi? Whoop, I did it again. I want to a tangent.
Well, you know what? I'm glad, the questions that go on in my mind constantly on the regular basis too. I'm following the economy more than ever. And I've been in a standoff with the crypto market, like all year. It's just been this standoff. 2021 was my splurge year, getting into all these different coins without understanding what was what. And then 2022 hit, and it was like full trying to understand everything. and detox from the coins, consolidation of the coins, trying to gain that understanding. And then I got afraid. And then I didn't know, like, I just didn't know where I wanted to go at what time. And I've been in this standoff. So then I'm like, okay, I'm starting to develop an understanding of maximizing reward, minimizing risk.
Mm-hmm.
But then, half the time I just want to go into my safe place and put like everything cold wallet, Bitcoin, and just like run away. But, I'm developing this understanding too. My questions that go on in my head, we have the market. So Bitcoin and Ethereum pretty much run together on their charts run together. And then that follows, is that still along the lines of FANG, of Facebook? So it runs
a little bit. Yeah, okay, a little bit. I think with the NASDAQ, they still say that NASDAQ is closer to like crypto and sort of risk assets and how people invest and so on. Yeah, I think so.
And so I just saw a chart today of Google, and it's not looking good. Not looking good as to where that might be heading. But still, and then it just comes back around. My questions in my mind wrap back around. Well, but DeFi, there's still all of this adoption coming in. And I'm not saying it's not going to be around, because I truly believe in my mind, I'm telling myself this isn't financial advice, that it will be around. I'm not worried about that. But when to get in, and I know like just how I'm going to have my portfolio set up. And if that's going to be when the economy is supposed to take a really big hit, even more in these coming months, energy prices going up. I know in the UK, there's energy prices going up like 280% in some places, and what that's going to do. But then, like you said, you're in DeFi and you're earning your 10%. I mean, that's all happening. That's all happening in the midst of this. So
right now, yeah, that's happening regardless of all of this. And that to me is fascinating. So the way I look at it, this is not financial advice also, is I have been dollar cost averaging in Bitcoin for almost a year now. And, that's what I love about dollar cost averaging for that kind of situation, because I don't really care what the price of Bitcoin is. That's awesome. I just started Ethereum about 2 weeks ago, dollar cost averaging in Ethereum too. And so basically it just goes in there. I put $100 into Bitcoin, $100 into Ethereum every week. And I just, then I don't have to worry about it. I just know that's, I'm going to be for the long term. And it's like this base layer that I have. And, as the market comes back up, it'll be interesting, because I think we talked about this before. I do, even though I like the idea of being able to just put it in cold storage and forget about it for years and years and years, because I do believe that it will be way, way up there. But right now, I'm probably going to take profit up along the way with it. I just sort of, but I don't know, it may change. Who knows how long it's going to be before Bitcoin gets back up to 60,000 again or whatever. And Ethereum, which they say could definitely overtake Bitcoin now that the merge is there and if it really takes off. So right now I'm just planning on both being there. And then on top of that, then I can go into DeFi and I can look at different protocols and different yield farms and different liquidity pools and look at different APYs and kind of play with it. Now, I don't have a lot of money in these DeFi protocols right now. So when I say I'm earning 20%, if I had 100,000 in there, I'd be happy camper. But right now I'm still in the learning phase, and I'm still trying to figure out how they work, because they all work a little different. And it's crypto, and it's wild west. There's not great help desk. There's not great support. So a lot of this you're figuring out on your own. So I watch a lot of videos. I put in a little bit of money. I see what it does. I track it. Then I do another one. So hopefully in 3 to 6 months, maybe sooner, I'm going to be able to have a more solid plan. But the way I look at it is, like I said before, if I can average around 70% over a long period of time, let's say 5 years, I know I'm going to be in good shape. If I can figure out a way to even increase that a little bit more, up into the 100%, which at times you definitely can. The question is average, because the way these yield farms work and the way these dexes work is the price is going up and down all the time. And the yields that you're receiving as a liquidity provider are based on how many people are in the pool. So that's a factor that I can't control. And then also, depending on if you're not just doing stable coins, if you're using a coin and maybe a stable coin is the other half, the price of that asset, if it's, let's say it's Bitcoin or Ethereum, that's going to be going up and down, which also affects the yield that I get. So it's really hard to kind of just, and that to figure out the yield like that and say, oh, I'm going to get, this amount of yield. So I don't look at these as challenges. I look at these opportunities because I can't do anything in the banking system. Yeah, it might be simple, but I'm not looking for simple. I'm looking for cash, baby. I'm looking for some yield.
Right. Well, and even looking at just taking Bitcoin for an example, looking at the price today, 21,000 or right around 20,000, 21,000, I believe.
It's been up and down. Did it get up? Is it back up over 20? Because it was like 17 a while ago.
Was it really? Oh man, where have I been? So. I haven't looked at it for a couple of days.
Well, the stock market went down, and so it's down. I think it's definitely below 20, but yeah.
Well, even better, even better. And think of where if we hit that 60,000 again, which I absolutely believe that we will. That's 3 times. We're looking at 3 times profit. So that's where are you going to get that in the current traditional market? True. It's not going to happen. So
yeah. So today right now it's 19,861. So it's already bounced back because it was down yesterday and the day before, and there you go. So it's going to hover around. It's going to do this dance around this 20,000. I think for a while. I don't know. And again, I don't care. I'm dollar cost averaging. I can get in low. I can get in high. It doesn't really matter because. I'm a big fan of dollar cost averaging. I always kind of was, but now that I'm really in it, it just is such a peace of mind for me. Yeah. Well, let's see what else I got here. Let me pull up. I got something else. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about metaverse. Okay. That didn't work. Oh, there we go. There we go. Whoa. China's metaverse related economy could reach 4 trillion. This is interesting. I thought, ooh, really?
Wow, not used to seeing a 4T for that T anywhere.
That 4T. Look at that T. And I'm also not used to really seeing China when it comes to metaverse. Now, you are with gaming, and that's kind of where this goes. It says the metaverse could triple China's online gaming market alone to 131 billion. I don't think I highlighted anything. I think I just wanted to bring this up and just say, the metaverse is hopping. There's a ton of investment in, and if we're not hearing specifics, it's because people are building. And but everybody's trying to see where this metaverse thing is going. I'm reading a book. Oh, where's my phone? Here's my phone. I'm reading a book. Let me pull it up here real quick. On the metaverse. What's it called again? Okay, the metaverse and how it will revolutionize everything. And what I love about this book is that it uses the internet, and it talks about how the internet was created. Let me go back off camera here. Here we go. So how the internet was created and all of the pains and how slow it was to really build up the internet. And you had to build the whole infrastructure. And again, that's one of the things that I did. I worked for major telecom companies, and the telecom companies had to build the fiber network. And then the cell companies, had to put all the towers in. All that had to get done in the 90s and the 2000s, for the internet to really flourish to what it is now with all the streaming and, the way, the internet is now. What this person is proposing is that we are way, way off from the metaverse being what Neil Stephenson, who wrote Snow Crash, and by the way, again, I recommend anybody that's interested in crypto at all to read Snow Crash or listen to it on audio tape like I did. He invented the word metaverse like 20 years ago, before the internet was even really, had enough bandwidth to do this. And in his world, when he created this metaverse, you would have goggles on and you would immerse yourself in this metaverse that was bigger than the size of, I think, New York City. It had that many like people in it, but it was like a world. But it had all those people could be concurrently in the metaverse, like millions of people. And what this author says is that we are so far from that being the reality, because right now in the best online video games, which really aren't metaverses, but they're kind of the precursor, like Fortnite and World of Warcraft and Roblox or whatever. Is it Roblox? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Those are the precursors to what the metaverse will be in a certain way, where you've got multiple people all in line interacting with each other, right? In battles and whatever they're doing, in there. I think he said 100 is about the most that most of these games can have concurrently hanging out in the same thing. That would be, having to redraw the screen and have the computer system be aware of all 100 people and every movement they make in this metaverse. If they're connected, they're all going to have to see the same thing move as far as terrain. And then individually, some people will see one thing, some people will see the other thing. I mean, just imagine if you're let's say you're at a concert and you're in real world, right? And you're looking around. Think of all the things that are moving around as you're looking at the audience and the band and everything. To recreate that virtually so that would feel like you were really there, the computing power and the network power alone is just astronomical, not even created yet. So the best we can do is to try to fake it out. So I guess like Fortnite does, and again, most of these are battles of maybe 5, 6, 10 people at most that are kind of together at the same time in sort of this virtual world. To do that, it has to use software to kind of fake things out so that, not every background is moving and whatever, just certain things, like ammo or weapons. And, if there's a network delay, like we know, like in Zoom and on these networks, sometimes you have glitches and there's a network delay. And if you're in these games, you're in a battle and you're shooting somebody and then you have network delay and you shot at somebody and that they delay, like the game has to figure out, well, should I have it when it comes back? Should the bullet be hitting the person or should the person have moved off so the bullet flies past and doesn't? I didn't think about any of that, but all that is has to be programmed in. So now you think about the metaverse, which is, million times bigger, I guess, eventually. And all that computing power has to happen. And so we're nowhere near that. So there's a lot of talk about the metaverse and how cool it is and all this great stuff it's going to be. And it will. It's just we're at the such baby steps of it. And the closest thing that comes to relating to it are these multiplayer video games right now that have millions, I guess, of users, but they're not all in there at the same time. And so the other thing I thought was really cool is that I think it was Fortnite that they had a concert where they said there was some million people that got to watch this concert at the same time in the Fortnite ecosystem or whatever. Well, apparently to do that, what they would do is they would copy an instance of, let's say 100 people. And they would take that and they would copy that, all of the pixels and everything around, and then they would multiply that same thing by 100. So they would just take these little pieces of that, and when you logged into it, you might feel like you're watching the same thing, but it's literally a copy of the main screen. So there might be 100 copies of it all going. It's just like these software techniques to fake it out, to make it feel like a million people could be watching a concert, when it's not really that case. So there's just so many interesting things, and I've only got just the very beginning of this book, but I love it because it starts to talk about the realities of the metaverse, and it uses all the examples of real world stuff to as the analogies of here's how what we have to do to really build this thing. So, you go into Sandbox and you see these blocky little characters like we were talking about last week, and how really funny that is. But that's the beginning. And in a way, when you go into the Sandbox and that software loads and it takes over your whole screen, you can imagine being in another world. Even yet, technically, we're nowhere near it. But that's what's cool about it. I think with humans, it doesn't take that much to be able to, like movies. Like we watch a movie, we're just transported into the world of the movie, and yet in reality, it's so far from like the reality of like a 3D environment that for the metaverse that we're thinking about. So it'll be great. It's like every little iteration will be fun and entertaining and profitable for people in this metaverse. But eventually, and the father of who coined it, his vision of it was a full virtual world that was almost real, like a digital twin. And we're far away from that, but it's okay.
I do remember hearing, or it was one of the things that actually, it was what turned the switch on for me for the metaverse, actually, is
Mm-hmm.
when I heard that it would be a seamless, that was the term that was used, a seamless digital
Mm-hmm.
reality of the world that we already have. So my thoughts were, okay, so if I want to go to the Egyptian pyramids, this
Mm-hmm.
weekend, I
Yep.
can go to the Egyptian pyramids. Like, of course I'd want to do that. Will we be able to ever just travel all over the world in a digital reality? I could care less if anybody else is there. So I hope if anybody's listening right now developing this, please just get it to where we can at least individually all go and visit around the world. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we are probably much further off. I mean, we look at even how far we are from a year ago. There's probably so much happening that we don't know
Yeah.
about. Well, there is so much happening that we don't know about, but it's going to take a lot of time till that's in front of us and where we
It
can.
is. But like I said, I think the interesting part is that each iteration, will still be fun, will still be interesting. Like I said, it doesn't take that much, to fake us out and to blank out the world and just get engrossed. And it just brings me back to storytelling. Really good movie tellers, really good storytelling. So the I have a friend that is an amazing writer. And has written for different TV shows and different Hollywood shows and books and everything. And he now is writing for NFT type games, I guess. And so that's what we need. We need really good writers to write really good content, so that when we get in here, it's not all about the glitz, of it. Because we really good writing and imagery on a 2D screen can take us, to places. And I just hope that they're not lazy about that, and it's all about the tech and glitz. Let's get some good writers in there. That's my plug for my man Adam. Uh, we need good writers. We need good creators, in this world. And the cool thing is, it's getting easier and easier. I mean, the fact that I haven't done this yet, but I'm planning to create, a 10,000 object NFT program. The software to do it is pretty easy, actually, and all you've got to do is you have to have a bunch of versions of the character, and then the computer program figures out how to put all of the characters in there and create the multiple NFTs that have different rarities. Some have green hats, white hats, blue hats. The software does all that for you, for the most part. So that's amazing that really anybody could create a 10,000 PFP type NFT collection. And that's a different thought for me. I'm not sure why I would want 10,000 of them, because my original thought was, well, what I like about NFTs is that I could own a really cool piece of art, not a strange little PFP. But the fact that you can do it, and technically you can do it, makes me want to do it. So, and I do, after thinking about it, I do think it'd be kind of cool to watch how the computer divides up. Let's say I have this basic picture of a dog or whatever, right? And you tell the computer that it wants different versions, like red, blue, green dog, and then red, blue, green hats and different eyes, and you put all that stuff in there. It's like, okay, now take all of these attributes, if you will, and mix it up and create 10,000 images. And I just think it will be really fun to watch the computer do that, and then see, oh, look at all these different versions. And then I think you can plug in, make this, and this really rare. And then the computer comes out with these rare forms, which now are worth more because they're rare. That's just another fascinating part of this. And the fact that you and I could do this pretty darn easily is also fascinating.
That is.
So,
That's actually good to learn more about that. That sounds really fun and really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so somebody like me, where I've never, like, I love art, I love creativity, but I've never thought I could draw or paint or anything. I just really can't draw a straight line practically, you know? So I thought, God, I'd love to create an NFT. Now, I am a photographer and I could create, I have wonderful detailed, photography and some really cool Photoshop stuff that I've done. But I thought, I'd really like to be able to draw something. Well, with something like this, and this is why I kind of got excited about this, is that I would only have to draw a few components of it, a little bit of it, and then the computer would kind of do the rest of it. Now, it's probably a lot more complicated than I'm making it until I do it. We'll see. But I've been looking into it because it's kind of fascinating. It just haven't had a lot of time. And it's funny because, crypto is really my full-time business now, creating my academy and different things and just staying up on it. But, this is part of it, and so when I can carve out a little bit of time, I want to create a metaverse. I want to create, an NFT group, not necessarily to trade in it yet or anything like that or make money off it. I just want to, see what the
To do
technology
it
can
and see what it's
have.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a space for creators. And I liked how you pointed out too that really from the beginning, trying to hope to bring in that creative crowd and bring that value in from the get go. There's always going to be the glitz and the flashy lights, and we'll probably see a lot of people head toward that way, Facebook. But yeah, I don't know where my screen's going. I lost you there. But yeah,
Sure.
I think that so far we have a lot of artists getting into NFTs. We have a lot of for digital artists and musicians. So
Yeah.
at least have that crowd engaged. And yeah, there's just so much. There was something I saw there where you actually just speak into it, whether it's something anybody can use right now, and then it draws it for you. And so you may not have to draw anything, Scott. It might
I
draw it
know.
for you.
Well, here's the other thing. Based on that, I haven't heard of that, but I did hear of, and I've got it bookmarked. There is it's a computer program that basically you type in like codes or little symbols, and you kind of tell it what you want, and then it goes and it's like an AI system, and it goes and it finds all these images that it can find based on the keywords that you enter, and then somehow it creates like a painting, like a really detailed, like beautiful, I saw this picture of it was like a Renaissance painting. It looked like a Renaissance painting. It was just amazing. And it was created by this AI, and all you do is type in the stuff and it creates it for you. And one guy actually entered it in a contest, an art contest. It was for graphical design, but the guy won. And when it was revealed, like he didn't, even graphic artists have to have a lot of skills in Photoshop and different things. And they were really, some people were really bummed that he won this because it was no artistic really skills at all. It was thoughts and ideas, putting it into a program that created it. And the weird thing is, it's basically uses Discord as the interface. So you actually go into Discord and then you type it in the chat window. You type the commands in there, and then it goes off into some AI thing. And I thought, well, that's just really weird. And when I actually looked into it, it wasn't intuitive. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. But that's another cool thing. And wow, it's just so much stuff. It's just exciting as hell. I can't tell you. And it's just like I said, I just want to do it all, and I can't keep up. And my ADD with this stuff is crazy. It's just like, come on. I'm like, focus, Scott. Come on, focus. It's about DeFi. Focus.
I get it. It is. It's a like you said, it's a full-time job. Even if you're not making it a job, it's still full-time. Like crypto doesn't sleep. And if you get the bug, then you are like, it just doesn't matter what time it is. It's just in the forefront. So yeah, I'm all about it too. It's so exciting. I love it. Can't
And
get enough.
I've got this other trading course that I'm trying to take on trading in crypto perpetuals, and it's really complicated. It's a formula that it's just hard to wrap my brain around it, and it's kind of, I'm like, I paid some good money to be in this, and you can make pretty good money daily, and you only have to put in like 10-15 minutes, and you can trade and make $500 to $1,000 a day kind of doing this. But the technicals are it's so technical, and I'm like, okay, what about the NFTs? What about the metaverse? I'm like, no, you paid for this, finish this out and
Yeah, I
get
get
it
it.
done. But I'm like, ugh. Anyways, well,
Yeah.
I think that's about it for today. I think we've rambled on long enough about the wonderful world of crypto.
Yeah, we made it through. It wasn't looking good from the beginning, but we made it.
I knew once we got energized, we talked about crypto, we'd get energized and it would just flow. And yeah, it all worked. Hopefully, if it isn't, I think it's streaming to our YouTube channels. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully, and then if not, we'll get the rest of them figured out. But hey, thanks for joining, everybody. And again, if you liked any of this and thought that we're not too crazy wacky, and you learned maybe a thing or two, pass it on. Certainly subscribe to Crypto for the Rest of Us, and that's my channel, Brianna's channel, Purified People on YouTube. Subscribe to her channel. We're both putting out individual stuff, and we try to put out these once a week. And I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we do, and just get into the crypto stuff. We'd love to hear from you. If you watch this on a replay, type in there you watch it on replay, and if you got a question about something we brought up, we'll and we don't know the answer, we'll go research it for you, and we'll talk about it in the next episode, or let us know what you want to talk about. So that's all I got to say, Brianna.
You covered it. You covered it all for me too. So yeah, thanks everybody, and we will see you next week.
See you. Bye-bye.